Hello. Hello, hello. It's a new day. Oh, wow, just stretched and popped. That was both good and terrifying. Oh, how's everybody doing today? It is Monday? Monday. It's a new day. Um, I'm doing all right. I want to say I'm tired, but I'm not. I'm just kind of blah. Hey, Desert, welcome in. What am I doing? I don't know anymore. Uh, I know what I'm doing today. I can put that on screen now. This little guy. Today I know, same with the blah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just work. I don't know anymore. All I can do is survive and make it through till tomorrow. Uh, I got something new. Over the weekend, we stopped by an art store in town called Blick. I didn't realize their website is literally called Dick Blick, which I think is hilarious. But we stopped by there, and in their clearance, they had a little clearance table set up, and one of the things they had was a bucket with like three different colors they had overstock on sale, and one of them was Payne's Gray. Clearly, it's not going to focus because it hates me. We do have a Blick here, yeah. I didn't realize what the big deal was with it, but apparently they're a huge art brand. Yeah, it's not going to want to focus because it hates me. Um, but yeah, oh hey, Goddess, welcome in. Yeah, so I had the thought since I got this right. What am I going to do with it? Well, a couple things. Obviously, it's new, so it's that's as bad as me laughing over bush nuts. But that was in your Subnautica game, right? It's kind of a silly name, but yeah. Uh, Clearly, you can tell where I'm going. I have my swatch out that I have for my full palette, so it's time to add something to it, right? So I only have one black color that I've ever had, really, and it's this carbon black. Uh, it's black, and all it really does is black. But I hear people talk about Payne's Gray so much. I've seen it in. I was telling my other half earlier that I've seen it in a lot of those. I don't want to call them simple because they're not, but they're kind of one shot, one color paintings, or at least mostly, where they do like landscapes in like a mist and whatnot, and the silhouette of trees and whatnot is either like an indigo or a black or a Payne's Gray. So I thought, let's try it out. How different from black can it be? Well, I'm going to find out because I'm going to put it on my swatch. My brain is just dead. Uh, get it into my palette, then set it aside to dry, and then I'll do an experiment with trying to do a painting with one color. And clearly, I don't want to go too heavily into trying two different things that I don't like doing or I'm not good at. Painting with one color sounds wild, so you have to be far better, I imagine, at controlling how you're going to handle that one color. But the other thing is, if I were to do a totally new type of painting, like a landscape that I'm not great at yet, it seems like two difficult things happening at once. And I'd rather lean into something I somewhat know. So I'm thinking I might go nebula, but just a gray nebula, like black and white, right? So I can practice at least with this. So that's what I'm going to do. And then if we come up with anything else, we'll just make it happen, right? Let me turn this music down to nothing so I can listen to nothing for a minute. Um, so let's get it in the palette. Let's get this over. I think first, though, I'm going to need to clean it because where this is going to go is probably a little dirty. Yeah. I was going to put it down at the bottom, down here next to the existing black, but this has stuff in it, so I'm going to clear it out really quick. Start with just a spray bottle, and then I'll go for more water when I'm ready for it. But weirdly enough, I don't think I'm going to work out of this palette today. I'm just going to put this in and dry it. I don't get tempted, I'll put it in something else by itself. Yes, yes, soak up onto the paper towel, my pretty. Okay, get in there. While I'm here, I'll clean a couple of the ones next to it too. Whoa, I'm really shaking the table doing that. Really want to get it on my swatch card, a little giant swatch card that I made. Hope you guys are doing okay today. It is Monday, so that's often the day that feels like it's going to be okay, and then everything hits that day. And I don't mean in a good way. I mean everything hits the fan. Weirdly, Mondays and Fridays are like the shit hits the fan day. Monday because everybody waits over the weekend, and then Friday because people like to make changes on Friday when it should be read only, and you shouldn't be doing anything on Friday. Ask me how I know. Probably enough. I may do a second pass of water really quick. Ah, yeah, Desert, you know, you work in IT. People, am I right? They never change, but at the same time, they're the reason we have a job, right? I'm not gonna lie, I am so glad that I don't do the help desk anymore. That's how I started. I never really talked about it. Um, I started my world in IT in call centers, uh, doing tech support for. I guess I can talk about the brands now. The first one I did was Clearwire, which was not while I lived out here in Seattle, but ironically was headquartered here. But their call center was where I used to live in Vegas. But they were like a 4G internet, like one of the first like big wireless internet companies with their own modems with like a cellular chipset in it and Wi-Fi. Well, used to have to troubleshoot that, and that was a nightmare. The lights are scrolling on my modem. Well, it's because you were sold the product well outside of your service area. Oh yeah, they said to be able to sell it, they had to put their store address in there for it to show that it had coverage, and then they just sent me out the door with it. Yeah, because you live like 5 miles away from one bar of signal. You're way out of coverage. Sorry, take it back and return it. That kind of thing, right? That's what that job was. Well, started from there and then worked my way finally out of a call center and I worked like three call center jobs. And then I finally got a job working at casinos in Vegas. And that's where I really had like help desk work, helping internal customers instead of external customers, meaning internal being people that work for the same company as you, and external being genuine, like regular, everyday customers who had more of an attitude. Well, you would think more of an attitude. The people that are internal are just as nasty sometimes. But still, it was a good bit better. But yeah, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. I did that for my current job for a few years, and I found a new position at the same place, and I haven't looked back, and I'm very thankful for it. Goddess said, oh yeah, Desert said, lol, isn't that the truth? Yes. Goddess said, graphic design was like that too. And then there's the whole, you don't have any kids, so you're always the one they ask to stay late thing. Oh, I hate that. I was going to ask that about who was worse. Uh, I mean, they're both just as bad, to be fair, right? I think to be, ooh, I might need to mix this in the, it's really full. I might need to see if I can squish it around in the tube a little bit to try to work it around a little, or maybe shake it or something. Because it was like wanting to burst out of here. Let me tighten it back down, and yeah, there's not a lot of room. These metal, I mean, they're all like this. They're like in a metal tube. I don't know what kind of metal. It's like a foil or something. I'm afraid to squeeze and mess with them too much because they might burst open. I don't know if they do or not. Desert might know more, but I don't know if there's ever like a, do you shake them? Do you do anything? Or do you just squeeze until it comes out and then mix it up before it dries? I don't know. Who knows how long it's been sitting here? Again, it was in the clearance section, so the top part could be dry. Who knows? But who's worse? Well, let's put it this way: they're all entitled, but I was going to say you can't fight back about standard customers, but you can. There are ways to fight back. Um, my favorite, I actually mentioned this to someone the other day. My favorite way to fight back to a nasty customer is when they say something that is completely asinine. One of the things that you're taught in call center jobs, especially, is how to make sure that you can prove that you're listening and you understand, right? That you're showing. Whoa, that really did shake it up a little bit. Let me put this in here. Oh, air pocket. Close that up. Oh, do I have any toothpicks? Yes, I have toothpicks. Um, yeah. Basically, like parroting their information back to them to prove that you heard and understood their issue, right? But parroting back information also works when you have an idiot on the phone, right? Um, and the way that works is pretty straightforward, and you can pretty much guess just from what I'm saying. But people who are really nasty don't hear themselves. Not typically. I'm sure there's some. There's always exceptions to every rule. But for the most part, nasty people are upset. They're in the heat of the moment. They might be jerks in their real everyday lives, but typically what they're doing is waiting and waiting and waiting until the issue's so bad that they need to call in about it. By that point, they're already pissed off, right? They're blowing up. So to de-escalate people, one of the best ways to de-escalate is to repeat back verbatim, without swearing, if they had any, what they said. If they said something really rude, really nasty, really stupid, repeat it back to them exactly how they said it. And if they're still being nasty and loud, it's like, okay, no, hang on, let me just make sure I understood what you said, and then repeat back to them what they said, and make absolutely sure that they're hearing what they said. Because sometimes that's all it takes for them to realize, yeah, I don't really mean to sound like that. I'm sorry, I really sound like a jerk. The ones that have a good heart but are just pissed will deflate and they'll be fine. The people who are nasty are just going to stay nasty. Now, the difference, obviously, is how you can handle people. The worst offenders when they're customers over the phone, really for anyone, but really for external customers, is if they get nasty to you about you, don't say anything, hang up. The best thing you can do is hang up. The worst thing you can do is respond back and give them ammunition, right? But again, just to de-escalate the common folk who are upset about an issue, repeat back the problem to them. The ones who are just upset and sound like they're not pissed, but they're just upset and they don't know how to take it out, or how to deflate and how to get rid of it, you can repeat that back. And it helps. I mean, sometimes just repeating back the problem to people who have a genuine problem is enough to deflate them because they realize you're listening. Tell them, like, I don't want to give you false platitudes, but I'm telling you, I'm one of those people that actually care about a problem, and I'm here to help you through it to the end. Just be your best, like, business appropriate customer service voice, that you can. But anyway, I'm going sideways with my thought. The difference between external and internal is internal, you can find out who their manager is, or you typically already know and are hopefully on good terms with their management. And you can bring it up to them if needed. Sometimes the internal employees forget that you're working for the same freaking people. The same person signs my paycheck that signs yours. Stop being a dick. But some people just don't get that. Especially when you're on the help desk and like a phone number changes. Oh, that's the worst thing that the company could ever do. Change the phone number for your help desk because they immediately think that it's a different company. And they're like, oh, now that you're in India, now that you're in the Philippines, I'm like, one, what an ass for calling out those particular people as the ones you don't want to talk to. And two, I'm the exact same person that's been here for 5 years. We just got a new phone number because we got a new phone system. Quit being a dick. But still, people are people. I'm still glad I don't have to do that because over the years, my patience, like I was already customer service bear. I was used to it and fairly good at it. But boy, let me tell you, the longer it went on, the closer and closer I was getting to, I don't want to say blow my top, but to lose it, right? It just handling people is, it's always something I've been good at, but it's because the call center portion kind of trained it into me. But now I don't want to have that customer service bear inside of me. I want to have the angry bear inside of me, or the lovely bear that loves communicating with the people that are worth communicating with. But if you are going to be a complete jerk, I'm going to call you out immediately, which doesn't always earn me many fans, but it's my truth. It's my reality. I've gotten to the point where I don't like doing that. And one of the other people in IT on my group was talking to me, basically saying, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but try not to do that as much because, the higher ups don't, look on that very nicely. And I'm like, I'm not being rude. I'm being business appropriate. I'm allowed to be business appropriate, and I'm going to keep being business appropriate. But the reason I send big emails, the reason I call people out is because I don't have time to deal with those kinds of people anymore. So I'm not nasty about it. I'm not blunt. There's rude, nasty, you're a jerk blunt, and then there's you're play acting all of the extras to fluff up whatever the situation is, and I need to cut to the chase and get the answers I need without all this extra crap you're trying to spin because you don't know what you're talking about. I try to do that. And not really internally. The people I work with internally are great. It's almost always vendor related kind of problems, which makes sense. They don't really know you or know how to communicate with you. So you got to figure that out. Man, I really went off the rails. I don't want to talk about my job. I really shouldn't be. So I'm not going to any further than that. It's not safe because someday someone will actually be watching from my job and I might say something stupid. So I'm not going to. But in general, people are people. And in general, my current job has been brilliant. I've only had one issue ever truly with my job, and it was right at the very beginning, and it was one employee at one location that was really nasty and upset about something. They called me out on basically my heritage, and I'm like, that's it, it's over, call is over, go upstairs and talk to their supervisor team and let them know, and they did not keep their job because I was proven trustworthy. They were apparently a known problem, and this was like the nail in the coffin, right? So it worked out. That is the most I'm going to say about the work. Old work, I'll talk about the hell and back, but current one I love, and I don't want to say anything stupid, and I wouldn't anyway because there's really not anything to say. Just shouldn't be sharing actual work information. Past jobs though. Oh well, God, how much further back do we want to go? Shall we go back to my first job working at Taco Bell? That was a treat, let me tell you. People. People are freaking people. That's all I've got to say. And when you work in food service, holy hell, they are just as nasty there. I try to slap that down so it'll even out a little bit. There's a little peak right there. It'll shrink when it dries, and it's hollow on the side, so until I use it and wear it down, it'll just poke into the hollow spot there and it'll be fine. I'm going to say from looks, it looks like the black that I've already got, the carbon black right here, but clearly painting will show that off. Wow, when I was cleaning out this, I got some on my fingernail. It'll be fine. Let's scoot this over. Yeah, working fast food is a nightmare. Has anybody else here ever worked in a fast food environment? Because holy hell, you want to talk about people being people? When they are hangry, stand back. They just get nasty. And you just have to take it. And being my first job, that was when I was, how old was I? 16. 16 in a day. At the time, I was living in Georgia, and the legal age to work there was 16. So 16 plus 1 day. Your birthday plus 1 day. So that's what I did. This would probably be enough. And I'll just add to it to the side. It's hard. Your first job, is one where you work directly with the public with food. I mean, you want to talk about being thrown to the fire. Starting out with food service is a bit of a nightmare. And if you can't handle that, you can't handle working customer service almost anywhere because it is just probably the worst method of working with customers is food service. And the attitude you get from that could be enough to turn you off from ever wanting to do that kind of work. But then some of you, myself included, have no choice in the matter, or had no choice in the matter, and it's all you could do at that time because it's all you had the experience for. Let me tell you, I got over that. Took a few years. I worked Taco Bell for a few years, and then what did I do after Taco Bell? I think I worked at Walmart. I think that was my next job. I got out of one bad customer service experience, and went into another, but at least one that had a huge brand name behind it, so they had some protections in place for you, and a lot more employees that you could vent with and listen to venting about their problems back in the break room. But that was fun. I enjoyed doing that one. That first job with Walmart, I worked. What department was I in? At first, I was a cashier, and then I was helping out overnight, doing like the 6 o'clock to 3 in the morning shift, but still cashier. And then when that slowed down, I'd go back and help certain departments stock shelves. And then after that, before I left that Walmart, I was doing layaway back when they actually had layaway. I actually enjoyed that. Layaway was a blast. It suited my organized mind. Having a system that showed where things were. You come in, you pay. You come in, you deposit, you put things in. I pack them in boxes. I say what boxes things are in. Finish it, put it in the back and the bins. Go back with the tag and say what bin it was in. Done. It was just simple yet complex at the same time, and it suited my brain. I loved it. But then they got rid of layaway. Let me catch up. Goddess, you said, only when I was a teen, fast food, but I did a lot of serving in restaurants in my 20s. Food service was very cyclical for me. When the economy was good, I did it because it was great money and flexible schedule. When economy was bad, I went to office work. Interesting, but makes sense because office work doesn't typically change as long as the business stays around. But if the economy is bad, nobody can really afford to go out to eat, let alone tip. So I get that. I never worked anywhere where tips were a thing, though, thankfully. And honestly, when I was working Taco Bell, my focus was um, working on my brain is stupid. The drive-through. I was the cashier for the drive-through line, and I was pretty efficient at that. Making the food, I was kind of slow at, so I didn't enjoy doing it. And thankfully, they understood that. A later Taco Bell that I worked at was kind of cool because I was still like the drive-through guy, but it was a much better store. Like the manager was beautiful and wonderful compared to the one I was at previously. And he liked when I came in. He had me scheduled to work the days that we had the truck, and I helped throw the truck and put everything up and rotate everything with him, which was great to have a manager that actually worked. It was so beautiful that he sweated when we sweat, right? So he was a wonderful manager, great guy to work for. It just wasn't good pay. It was like 610 an hour. It was terrible. Um, but this was uh, 25 years ago, approximately. So, I mean, 610 an hour, I guess, was good back then. No, it was still crap. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of fun actually working with him and working at that store because I got to come in and do the truck. I worked morning shift exclusively with him. Um, I got to do all of the frying in the morning, and I cleaned the frying machine, like drained the oil, filtered it, put new in, all that sort of thing, and then I did the frying in the morning. Um, we did like all the prep for like frying like taco salad shells when we used to have taco salads, or when they used to have taco salads. And then like when they started bringing in all the new stuff, we fried that all on the fly. But most of the stuff was done in the morning. Anywho, I just enjoyed doing it because with no customers in the store, we sat there, we turned the radio on, we sang loudly, badly, but loudly. It was great, a lot of fun. Um, Retail at Walmart was kind of good. Later Walmart was better for me. I worked at Walmart a couple times, and I did different things at different times when I worked there. But one of the later gigs I had at Walmart was a lot of fun. I worked in the photo lab, which kind of relates to this in a little bit because I had to deal with color and like doing some minor color adjustments before we printed. And after we scanned the film, we did color adjustments. Digital, we did not. We just let them send what they sent because it was more accurate anyway. But film sometimes needed a little bit of adjustment in case it got hot or something, or it got a little heat damage, and we could sometimes pull it back from the brink a little bit. So I remember doing that. It was kind of fun. And I worked with a guy that was like an old and much older gentleman whose like life's work was photography. Like he was like a news photographer back in the day. I forget what for a newspaper of some kind. And he owns his own photo lab uh, for a long time. And then he ended up working at this one in the little town that we were in. So I learned a lot from him. A really cool guy. Um, but yeah, working in the photo lab was fun. I learned a lot about digital cameras, memory cards, all that. And clearly that was before I got any jobs working in IT. That was before call centers. It was just before call centers actually for me. So it was it's a fun job. It was a fun place to be. Let's scoot over some of the stuff. Also, I am trying to reduce some of the space that I take up on my desk here. So I'm using some different containers for water right now. The ones I was using before are still here. They're over on a shelf over here, but they're kind of big. So I'm using these to try reducing some of the space I take up. Also, when I have my other half here and he wants to join and we're going to ever do painting, I'm taking up too much space. So, excuse me. All right, well, that is done. I'll scoot that to the side. I don't need this water. I have this water brush that I have yet to use, and I don't really want to start now, but I will plan on using this little water brush at some point. It's one of those ones you fill the back with water, and it flows through the tip, and I guess it just keeps adding water as you paint. It sounds interesting, but we'll see. I'll use that at some point. Um, but yeah, old work, man. Uh, Seriously, everything happens for a reason. I am just very pleased that I don't have to do some of the jobs that I used to have because it's just not me. I'm not interested in that life anymore. I don't want to have to deal with those kinds of people. I want to say no offense to those people, but they deserve the offense. A lot of those people are nasty. I'm just glad not to have to do that anymore. Did I not have a mechanical pencil? Oh yeah, I have it over here, don't I? Yep, here it is. Mechanical pencil. Check. All right. Um, this is going to be, it's in the 12th slot down on that palette. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, with 4 to spare. That's right. Okay, so this is click. It's labeled. Now I get to paint it. Let's grab my size 6 round brush. Yep. And let me snag a little tiny bit of this because I don't want to paint it just fully raw on there. Ooh. Oh, it is not pure black. Oh, I'm thankful for that. Oh, it's pretty. It's got some blue in it. It's kind of similar to my indigo. It'll be really interesting to see the difference. All right, let's get it nice and thick right there. And we're going to put it right here. Starts off looking really black. Right? Blot some of that out, wash some of it out. Right, let's pull it to the right. Um, okay, it's shocking the difference in that. That's wild. I really didn't think it was going to be because I've seen this, but I've never really like connected it because I didn't have this color. Um, wow, that's really shockingly pretty for a black, a gray. Let me dry it really quick. Yeah, wow, that's really pretty. Um, that's I mean, it's a gray, but it's like a bluish gray. It's kind of similar to indigo, but it's not quite as blue. And it's a wild desert that your indigo was more of a purple color. The only indigo I've known is this one, and this one's far more spacey for me. But I understand where this one is not just a gray, it's like a very gentle kind of blue gray color. It's not black, because this is the black right here, and it's a completely different shade than this one is. But that's a completely different shade than the indigo is. It's like in between. That's probably the best way to put it. It's between indigo and carbon black on my palette. If I ever redid my palette, I would sort this green gold higher up, and I would make a spot between carbon black and indigo for this Payne's gray because that's definitely in that area. That's wild. I like it. I can see why people use it for the scene I was talking about, where they do the like the kind of misty, everything's kind of subdued and like hidden behind the mist, and then every now and then a tree pokes out. It's a this color. I can see why it works for that really well. That's super cool. Well then, now that that's done, let's scoot this out of the way and let's talk about what we're gonna do next. Um, so, and someday the rest of this palette is gonna be filled up. I can count eight. Yes, eight more slots in my palette that I could fill with additional colors if I want to. So as I'm out and about and we go into a store and it's like, why are we here? I don't know. Let's find somewhere to blow our money. Okay, well, let me spend, $5 or $10 on paint and get like one or two tubes. I'll find something and I'll fill them, or I'll look at something on the internet and I'll be like, that's a color I don't have. Let's add it to the palette. That's what those extra slots are for. I'll fill them up over the years. But until then, they're just going to be empty for now. That said, what are we going to do? Well, I've got a couple different paper sizes for this. I was going to do like a nebula I mentioned earlier, using this color and this color only to see how I can do. I tend to lean on using multiple colors, sometimes too much, so I want to try doing one color. So I'm going to do this, but what size paper am I going to use? Well, I've got this one, my tried and true 9x12. Um, but of the same brand, Strathmore and series, the 400 series, cold press. I also have this little guy, 5.5 by 8.5. So it's basically it is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half. So I've got this book with these in it, so I could always use one of these and do it small just to get the practice in. Or I can go stupid with another pad that I've got that's new, that I've not used yet. This guy, 12 by 18, just picked up a couple weeks ago. At least it's spiral bound, so I can turn the page back, but it is a pad, not a block. So to use it, I'm going to have to figure out an interesting way to do it, because this is too long to fit on anything I've got except maybe that giant block of wood that I was using to paint on. But it takes up way too much space. I might do that, but we'll see. Actually, let me check this to see if it would actually fit on that. Oh man, yes, it would, but it's such a huge plank of cutting board. We'll see. I'll either pull it off and I'll tape it onto that, or I'll just. My thought, since this is on a spiral, I could always do this and just fold the cover back, and then take this as it is and tape around it. Tape up my borders and tape them shut over the edges so I don't get paint on the edges, and turn it into a block, basically. What is this? Ugh, I'm not interested. I love how random people get my phone number and they're talking to someone else, and I've had this number for years at this point. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, so I might do that with this giant ass piece of paper, with this giant ass pad, but it's too big almost to put on screen. Like it'll fit, but it'll take up the whole screen. But I like it for that. So I might use this big one. Yeah, should I break it in? Yeah. Yeah, I think I will. Fine. I'll do it. Um, Let me make some room for my stupid idea. All right. So this can go. I think what I'll do though is, well, I don't really need a scratch piece of paper, do I? I'm doing a nebula. It's going to be one color, so I don't need to waste a sheet of paper to do scratch stuff on. It's too big to use this. My only question is, how am I going to do it? Am I going to do it on that big cutting board, or am I going to tape it down to this? Well, I'm going to have to tape it down regardless. So I may as well do it on this. But then when I'm done, I'll have to untape it, peel it off, put it in the paper trimmer to cut the trim off this side. It's basically the same, but I can pick this up while I'm working, whereas I can't with that big board of wood. I answered my own question. All right, so let me scoot this here. I'm going to do it landscape mode, horizontal. So I do too much vertical sometimes. I need to remember to do horizontal stuff because it gives me more room to work, I think. So, all right, let me scoot this over and scoot this over and scoot my little palette, scoot my paper towel. Is this enough room to work? Yeah, I just need to tape it down. All right, I can do that. Where's my tape? Here it is. Let's see. It's like a midnight black. You know what that is? Black hair dye black, like blue black hair dye. Oh, I get you. Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, I've never used it, but I understand where you're coming from with it. Because, like, black dye for hair is never truly black, right? Because it would look weird to be jet black. Interesting. All right, we're gonna do it. All right. Um, Now how am I gonna tape this? I hadn't thought about that. Well, I need to tape over this edge, but on the spiral edge, I'll go in a little bit because I'm going to be cutting a piece of that off. So to make it fit, I should do the bottom first. Yeah. And I'm going to try to do half because that'll be easier to manage, easier to remember. That's almost half. It didn't quite make it on this side. Yeah, well, good enough. No, tape evenly, you jerk. It's fine. I was like, maybe I should have taped it to the that giant wooden board, but this is fine. Do this side. Do, 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 do. Working in the casino was kind of fun. Did that for 3 years? Yeah, 3 years, I think. A lot of fun. I did help desk there. It was my first in-person help desk for internal employees. Was at Caesars Entertainment, so that was kind of fun. They had, I forget at this point, 8 or 9 properties um, there in Vegas, and then more in other cities. Horseshoe, Louisiana, I think Tahoe, I think had some, I don't remember. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. We worked out at Bally's, and then we started there and ended there to clock in and clock out and meet in the mornings and whatnot. And then from there, walked to the property we were working at for the day and did all of our work out of the IT office in that building. Just printed a bunch of tickets, figured out a path to walk to get to as many of them as possible, go work on a bunch of them all at once, come back, update our notes, close what we could, order parts, grab a bunch of new tickets, and go right back out again. It was busy, very busy, a lot of legwork, but it was fun. And the best part is we had the EDR, free food, employee dining room, which was really cool to be able to go have breakfast and go have lunch and just go in and just eat whatever you want. It's kind of nice. I was addicted to their bacon in the morning. Whenever they had bacon, I would just go get like 5 or 6 pieces, very unhealthy. It was like that thin, wimpy, barely existent bacon, but they did it crispy. So, because they baked it in an oven, I think. But it was a fun place to work. And after I did help desk there for a little bit, I got promoted to be what they called a market engineer, which is just fancy speak for doing like project work mainly, and handling larger issues. We were kind of like the tier two for the source desk people or help desk. But I got to own a couple projects and work on a couple. Um, I worked on World Series of Poker for a couple years, set up and tear down and support of that, managing managing the temps, contract workers, as well as our people. That was a lot of fun and crazy. I owned doing the, oh, what is it called? Great Gift Wrap Up. That's what they called it. Uh, Great Gift Wrap Up was a place where the high rollers, the people that spent a lot of money during the course of the year, they earned a lot of points on their little points cards, and they got to use them and spend them on like a Sky Mall kind of catalog type thing, where they would go around the room and look at all the things that were available. There were like electronics and boats and whatever else you could think of. And we had validation machines where they could swipe their cards and check what the balances on their card were, and it would print a slip so they would know what they have. And they would go around and just choose what they wanted from the showroom floor, and then go to the cashier and spend their points. So I got to set that up for a year. We had 2 of them at 2 different locations in the same year, so I got to do both of those. That was a lot of fun. Stress, fun, all of the above. Yeah, it was a fun job. Absolutely enjoyed working there. A lot of great coworkers there too. And more than anything, I was getting my exercise in there because it was kind of mandatory to be able to walk to do the job. Whereas my current job, I don't have to walk around as much anymore, so that's I have to supplement or need to supplement. I'm not, but I should. Okay. Now what? Well, question of the day. Uh, well, clearly using the little brush is out for a minute. It's a big piece of paper, so I need to cover the space. Put that where it belongs. Uh, let's grab a Mottler. Yeah, Mottler brush. And I think I'm just going to wet down the whole space. I'm thinking though, since this is just one color, what I'm probably going to do is do a wash of the whole thing and do wet on wet. Try to mix up a little bit over here that is a decent quantity of a thinner, more transparent amount, and just kind of splash it and get it in a couple places. And then do a little bit darker around it and just some random spots. And then stop and let it dry. And then just do my typical thing where I go back and forth to it. But I'll start with this. I'll head to probably a large, because it's a big sheet of paper. I'll go to my biggest round brush, size 16. And then I'll just work my way down as I let it dry and go back for another pass. We'll see how it goes. And then toward the end, when we have lighter areas, I may grab some of the Payne's Gray a little thick, a little darker, and flick some darker stars on it. And then when that dries, go back over it with the only other color I'll use on this to just get stars happening. I'll use some white acrylic on it to get some white stars. But we'll see how it goes as we pass through this. So yeah, let's get it started. Let's cover this with water. So let's do that first. Lots of water in here and just go back and forth. Grab some more. Back and forth. And just keep going. I mentioned the other day that I might want to put a light source in front of me, shining this direction so that I can see the water on the paper more. I had one there for the metallic. I wasn't really doing a lot of good to show off metallic on camera, so I put it back over in the corner to my right. But maybe I'll find some soft light source I can put on that side over there to help me out. We'll see. I'll think about it. A light bar or something simple would probably do the job. All right. There's a dog hair. Just like you got us. I got dog hair floating around. Get out of here. All right. It looks pretty well wet, but just like the one that I sent you, I know how this goes. I should let it sit for a minute, and then if I need to do another pass, I can. It looks fairly damp, but not wet. I think I'll let it soak it up a little bit to get down a layer, and then I'll hit it one more time. And in the meantime, if you got coffee, drink it. That's where I'm going. Get my caffeine, glug, glug, glug. My clear blue cup. Yeah, that almost completely dried up already. Like, I'm so and so from a landscaping team. Okay, well, I don't have any land. That's how I should respond, but I don't want to give them the time of day. So, I don't have land, click. Can't do business with an apartment owner or apartment renter. Heavy on the water this time. Today I am not multi-streaming. I just kind of do it when I want because, I really like being on Twitch more than anywhere else. It's more comfortable. I feel like when I'm multi-streaming, even though there's nobody at all watching yet, it somehow feels more stressful having more streams going at once. And I don't want that. So I will almost definitely only do that in the future on rare occasions. Every now and then I'll pop one of those in there just to kind of show face, show my face. All right. Well, I'm not going to wait this time. Otherwise, it's going to dry up again pretty quick. So let's hit this pretty fast. So first up, got my chunky 16, size 16 round brush. Let's grab a lot of water, a little bit of color, mix it up over in this one well. It looks so dark blue in the palette. It's pretty awesome. It is mixed. Let's pick some places to put some on the paper. I have a bad habit of staying the same angle, so let me try to switch it up sometimes. God said, I wanted to try the streaming on TikTok. Got the invite, but honestly, I really enjoy Twitch. I don't know how much traction I get on TikTok for gaming, so I might just do chat, like conversations with my AI. Those are pretty popular there, and it reaches the Spirit Talk pace. Interesting. And I have amazing combos with my AI. It's really pretty. Love the color. Well, thank you. And yeah, I say wherever you can get yourself out there, do it, because who knows what's going to happen in this world. May as well get your voice heard and out there wherever you can. Try to find some people that are like minded, that are interested in what you're interested in, that can join in the conversation. Again, it is a pretty color. It feels like it's just gray, but it's not once you get it out. At least out of the tube. That's shocking. It's really neat. I like it. Let's I'm gonna let it sit for a minute because sometimes I rush it with the dryer. I think I'll just let it sit for a moment, and then as it starts to dry, then I'll finish it off because by that point it'll probably be done spreading, and then we can hit it with another layer. It's interesting. I like it. I do think I need to do better at figuring out lighting in these things and like where does the light come from? Is this like the bottom part of a nebula and there's some stars already completed forming up above off scene that we're not looking at here? Like I never really think about where the light is, and I really should because it adds, you know, shadow and light and realism. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of pretty colors. But I can't do that so much with this because it's one color, so I have to actually focus a little bit more. I did not do. Neat. Yeah, in the palette, it has it's hard to tell, but there is a blue kind of blueness to it. You can kind of see it in the one that's hardly got anything in it. Yeah, it's really interesting. It also looks like clouds. It's the perfect cloud color. Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Especially once it's on here. Yeah, you're right. I can see it doing clouds and then hitting it with like a paper towel to lighten the upper part of it and everything too, which would actually probably look good here too. Think about that. I might do that on the next pass because this is already drying. That's on the roll. Doing like the definitely add some texture to it. Lightning storm. Oh, I'd love to figure out how to paint a lightning storm. That would be so cool. I remember that was one of my favorite little side purchases I got when I was a kid. I picked up, I don't remember where, I think Walmart or Target or something like that, maybe Kmart at the time. They were still around, especially in Georgia. But I remember getting one of those like sights and sounds or sights and smells or smells and sounds kind of CD, and it came with like essential oil, which I think was jasmine in this case. It might have been Jasmine. I don't remember. It's been a while, but it was like a thunderstorm soundtrack, and on CD. And you would take the oil and you could either put it in an infuser, or what they suggested was taking a light bulb out and putting a very thin amount on your finger and just wiping like a ring around the light bulb, around the metal of it, and then put that back in so that as it heats up, the smell would kind of go around the room. And it's supposed to give off like an ozone smell, I guess, is what the idea was. But the thunderstorm sounds, I always absolutely love that. Like heavy downpours, huge thunder and lightning is just so cool to me. I don't want to be standing out in it like an idiot, but I want to be hearing it and witnessing it. I think it's beautiful and fun to listen to. I always thought if I wasn't into IT and computer stuff, I'd be interested in meteorology or like storm chasing, or maybe not storm chasing, but tornadoes and all that always interested me. As you can tell from that, my favorite movie is Twister. Great, great show. The new one was it was okay. All right, let's try this off and then we hit it with another pass. Excuse me. I don't even know what's playing. Okay. Um, so to fix a problem that I normally have, I'm going to turn it around, hit it from a different angle. I have a bad habit of staying painting on the exact same perspective for this kind of stuff, and it's meant to be something that looks normal from any angle, and I always end up having some slant that shows the direction I painted from. So let's look at this. What can I add to this? It's still very bright, which can be nice. We've seen on the one I did the other day that was a bunch of different colors of very faint ones. It came out so nice that it's up on the wall. So faint can be good, but I also don't want it to be too bright. But if I want to do dark stars on it and light stars, it needs to be kind of in the middle overall, I think. So I'll probably pick an area to pick on, like maybe over here to make darker, and let this be the much lighter area. So I can have some of the darker stars on top of the light, and some of the lighter stars more visible on top of the dark. Yeah, let's do that. I think I'm at the point where I'm going to add some white stars to it now. Um, very, very sparingly on the left side where it's lighter and there's darker stars. Like I'm talking hardly any, but heavier over on the right here where it's a little darker. So it kind of like transitions darker sky, lighter stars to lighter sky with darker stars, and it kind of meets in the middle, is the idea. Now I just have to be able to open this. Oh my goodness. There we go. Ah. Bring out the small brush. Get my big brush ready. Wet down my little brush. Let's get some little guys. Dry that off and do some of this more raw. That is too wet. There we go. What do you want, Watch? It must be time for me to stand up. It is. Too bad. All right, let's try this off. Wow. Well, can I just say, this came out really nice. Always when you peel the tape is when the magic happens. It looks like hot garbage, and then you peel the tape and you're like, oh, it came out all right. You know? It's just, wow, what a difference. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull this off. This here for a sec. Get this out of here. Oh, I almost let this slide out of my hands and right into my face. That wouldn't have been pretty. Death by paper cut. Okay. Good enough, I'm afraid, to trim too much of that off. But that said, I am pleased. It came out quite well. Payne's gray. Wow, who knew? Well, everybody but me. But yeah, that came out pretty cool, right? I like it. Especially when it takes up a full screen like that. It actually looks pretty cool. How does it look the other way around? Doesn't look too bad vertical. Upside down? Eh, okay. Not as great, but feels better the direction I did it from. Vertical upside down? Oh, that's kind of nice. It's always nice when I can turn it different directions and it doesn't make me want to vomit when I see it. Okay, it's never really that bad, but you know what I mean. Thank you. Yeah, the stars are really the finishing chef's kiss. Yeah, that really helped. I was thinking of leaving it just with the black stars on it, but I'm like, it needs the white ones to kind of counterpoint, you know what I mean, on this side and evens it out. The only thing I don't like as much looking at it afterward is like ended these like streamers in the same place and left about the same amount on both sides. But I mean, whatever. It'd almost be better if it was more angled in a way, but it's fine. I like it. It's cute. I guess I have to put my name on it. Who the hell's this bear guy? Whee! All right, not bad. It reminds me kind of these two little Polaroids. Do you remember these? Mainly of this one. This was mainly indigo on the right. They're kind of close in a way to how these came out. If I did them like this, they almost feel like they're part of the same thing, right? Kind of. I need to make more of these. I need to cut out some and start making some more Polaroids. I think they're really cute. But yeah, I think that's it. Um, I have some mess to clean up. This paper towel is not something I normally use to blot with, but it really brought some cool texture in there. But now I've got it all over my hands, and I'm going to go scrub to get it all gone. Um, I'll probably just let this dry and just let this be like a. And then I'll wash it out. I've got plenty of it in the palette. Yeah, I'd rather have clean side palettes. I'll wash that off later. Uh, I've got one whole clean thing of water over here I didn't use. All right. I think that'll be it. A little bit shorter stream than normal. I normally go like 2.5 hours or whatever, but it's Monday and I have to work in the office tomorrow, so I have to go to sleep a little bit earlier, or at least get up a little bit earlier. So it's always better if I give myself a little bit more time today. I'm not trying to, but it just worked out that I can give myself back some time today. So yeah, I've got a bunch of random stars that I flicked everywhere to clean up, which is going to be a little hard because it's acrylic, but the black stuff will come off because that is watercolor. A little bit of water will make that go away. But I've got white dots everywhere. Everywhere I am ever going to do this at, I'm going to have white dots everywhere when I do stars. I don't think there's any way of getting over it. It's on everything. It's on the heat gun. It's on my brushes. It's on my mat. It's on everything. It's okay. Yeah. Let's stop yammering and finish up. Um, so thank you so much, you guys, for hanging out with me. I appreciate y'all for being here on a Monday. We know the best slash worst day of the work week or week in general for anyone that doesn't have to work anymore. Goddess, I'm talking to you. Congratulations on not having to work. It's a good thing. One day, one day, I'll be able to work for myself, and I won't have to worry about working for someone else anymore. But that's the future. I do have an idea I just came up with the other day that I don't really want to talk about too much. So I'll just mention that I've got an idea for something. So I'll workshop it and consider the idea. And if I like it, I will comment more on it. So I will let you all know when that time comes. Feels like a bit of a cock tease, but you know what? It is what it is. Um, you know how it is. If you talk about something you're excited about way too early, it has a way of falling apart or never coalescing, never happening. So I'm just not going to do that to myself. I'm not going to jinx it. So yeah, the can makes a little white one sparkle. I love it. He does love it. Like the reward finally. Yeah. Oh, call you Asterian? Asterian. What a man. He's spicy. I love how spicy he is. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, well, all I could do now is waste time, and I'm not going to waste your time. So I am going to go ahead and pack up and head out. You guys have an absolute glorious rest of your evening. Have a great week. I'll see you again on Thursday, where I'll be doing underscore 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 fill in the blank because I don't know yet, as usual, but I'll figure something out. Um, Worst case scenario, I always have games to fall back on, and if not, hey, you know what? I'm happy with what I got. So I will figure something out. I will see you guys later. Thank you again for hanging out with me. Let me do the smart stuff. Hang on one second. Eh, chat is here. Eh. Oh god, am I doing it right? Yes. Sub to Goddess Whispers. Uh, there we go. Please check out Goddess Whispers. She streams as well. She likes to crochet, craft, now watercolor, game especially. She's been playing Subnautica below below zero. Yes, below zero. And Desert Dragon Lover. She is a master watercolorist. And absolutely stunning work. She just recently did some fish. I want to say they look like catfish or koi. I didn't catch what the name of them were, but they look like either of those. It was on, I think, her last stream, so they came out really, really beautiful. Please check her out. And they are a blessing in disguise. Without the two of them and my other half, I would be watching myself. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you more than you know. So, all right, that's enough yammering. I'm gonna head out. I should raid somebody, but I haven't looked anyone up. Maybe we'll do that too. Why not? We're doing all the things we should do, right? Let's look. Who's online? Raid channel. Is there anybody online who I follow? No. Is there anybody doing the same thing? Maybe. Let's just search for watercolor on Twitch. Hey, there's some weirdo called Barely Watercoloring on. Wow, there's really not anyone. Well, here's one. There they are. I found someone online who is watercoloring. Their name is Tundra Katie Bean. Let's go say hi. Assuming they accept raids. Looks like it. All right. All right, guys. Well, I'll see y'all later. Go say hey to a new fun friend. Bye.